This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of Phatts TV, sanctioned by PA Phatts and the non-genetically proven Sun. Any and all words have been authorized during the show. There is nothing off limits. Nobody is restricted from watching or participating in the show. It is a free-for-all. Commencing at the siren, any and all discussions will be legal for an extended period of time. Sports, politics, and any and all controversial topics will be talked about. You have been warned. May God be with us all.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Phatts TV on this Tuesday night, December the 20th, 2022. 5 days until Santa Ho-Ho comes around the world to give all you good little boys and girls some presents. And people like me don't get anything.
You don't deserve anything.
I don't deserve anything. That's true. I've been a bad little boy this year, as always. Joining me in the upper left-hand portion of the screen, as always, coming to you from Phatts Studio B, deep in the heart of Center County, Pennsylvania, even though he argues with me, I'm not really in the heart of Center County, when if you look at it on a map, he's more in the heart of Center County now than he was before. The non-genetically proven elf, the one, the only, non-genetically proven son.
The elf, but I'm taller than Santa.
How's it going?
It's going.
It's going, huh?
Yeah, just another Tuesday night.
Sure. Uh-huh. Sure it is. Yep. So we got a lot of stuff to discuss tonight. If you read the message that I posted last night, I teased that we were going to start tonight's show with talking about something that might end up getting us kicked off of YouTube.
Elon Musk is cool.
Now, there's not much that you can say about and get kicked off of YouTube. There's only a couple things.
I just said one of them.
So, we're just going to share the screen here. Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine linked to blood clotting, so says the FDA. Now that's interesting.
Why is that interesting?
That's interesting. Well, it was such a safe shot. No side effects. Uh-oh. Looks like there might be a side effect. Not to mention all the people that have dropped dead of myocarditis. Assuming I said that word right.
You probably did.
Probably didn't. So FDA researchers crunching data from a database of elderly persons in the United States found out pulmonary embolism, blood clotting, that forms in the body and winds up blocking blood flow in the lungs met the initial threshold for a statistical signal and continued meeting the criteria after a more in-depth evaluation. 3 other outcomes of interest: a lack of oxygen to the heart, a blood platelet disorder called immune thrombocytopenia, however you say that. I'm sure I didn't say that right. And other types of clotting called intervascular coagulation. I know I said that right. Initially raised red flags. Researchers say more in-depth evaluations, such as comparisons with populations who received influenza vaccines, showed those 3 as no longer meeting statistical threshold for a signal. Researchers looked at data covering 17.4 million elderly Americans who received a total of 34.6 million vaccine doses between December 10th, 2020 and January 16th, 2022. The FDA said it wasn't taking any action on the results because they don't prove the vaccines cause any of the 4 outcomes, because the findings are still under investigation and require more robust study. Then it goes into talking about how the research was done. You know, I'm not going to go into that. All 3 vaccines, the Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, and Myrna, was that the other one? Moderna, thank you. Have been linked to a number of side effects. Heart inflammation is casually linked to Moderna and Pfizer shots. Experts around the world have confirmed, while Johnson & Johnson has been associated with blood clots. Other conditions such as pulmonary embolism have been reported to authorities and described in studies. Through some papers have found no increase in risk following vaccination. Approximately 4,214 reports of post-vaccination pulmonary embolism, including 1,886 reports following receipt of Pfizer vaccine, have been reported to the U.S. Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System as of December 9th. As of this date, 1,434 reports of post-vaccination myocardial infarction, including 736 following receipt of Pfizer's vaccine, 469 reports of post-vaccination immune thrombocytopenia, don't know if I said that right, including 234 following receipt of Pfizer's vaccine, and 78 reports of post-vaccination intravascular coagulation, including 42 after the Pfizer vaccine. Blah, 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 blah. Some of us smart people chose not to get the vaccine. I'm not going to mention any names. But if you read between the lines of what I just said, so why did I not? It's as simple. I didn't trust it.
Because you weren't forced to?
They rushed it to the market. Rushed it. Typically, a vaccine goes under several years of testing. Several years. They did this in 2 months. Of course there was going to be unknown consequences. Duh. Where I worked didn't require it. They wanted you to take it, but they didn't require it. If they did require it, they would have had to fire me because I was not going to get it. I don't trust it. I still don't trust it. It's still too soon. It's barely 2 years. That's not enough time to do long-term studies. You proved to me that it's safe, and I said this 2 years ago. Prove to me that it's safe, and I'll take it. Hasn't been proven yet.
How long did it take to eradicate polio?
A long freaking time.
We can't even eradicate the common flu.
Or the common cold, for that matter.
And so, like, how are we going to kill something that evolves quicker than, or as quick as the flu?
Yes.
Or quicker. Probably evolves quicker than the flu, to be honest.
Yes. So I made a choice. If I died, I died. It was my decision. It's my life, my body, my choice, right? That's what you liberals like to say. My body, my choice.
True. Except when it comes to the shot, you had to get that.
Yeah. I mean, it's been pretty well proven now that those that had the shot and those that didn't have the shot have basically the same chance of giving the virus to somebody else. I mean, that was their big argument. Oh, you're preventing the spread. Well, guess what? You weren't. You weren't preventing the spread. That's been proven now. So, I didn't get it. The company I worked for, if they required it, they would have had to fire me. Oh well. They did not fire me. They understand freedom of choice. My body, my choice. Right, liberals?
Well, that's what happens when you're run by a bunch of Jewish people.
Okay.
Well, they're usually conservative, are they not?
Actually, no. Which is very surprising. Like, you look at who they donate money to, it's a lot more to the Democratic Party than the Republican Party.
And they don't understand the difference.
So, on last week's show, we talked about the Twitter files, part 1 and part 2.
We did.
We're now going to talk about parts 3, 4, and 5 tonight. Maybe just 3 and 4, depending upon how long it takes to get through parts 3 and 4.
One of them is like 65 parts.
It is very long. They are very, very long. So parts 3, 4, and 5 talk about the events leading up to and then the eventual kicking of former President Trump off of Twitter.
No shot for me. I didn't get it, and my roommate did. She got COVID. I did not. Just saying. That's what Tom said.
I'm impressed that Tom has a female roommate. Just saying. Attaboy. So, by the way, Twitter Files Part 8 was released today. So we got a lot more things to talk about.
They're going to keep going.
When it comes to the Twitter files. But on to part 3. Whee! The removal of Donald Trump, part 1, October 2020 to January 6th. The
Roommate only.
What?
It's his roommate only.
Yeah, well. Wishful thinking. Wishful thinking. You never know. You never know. The whole world knows much of the story of what happened between riots at the Capitol on January 6th and the removal of President Donald Trump from Twitter on January 8th. Actually, I don't think the world really knows what happened on January 6th. We could have that discussion one time. We'll show you what hasn't been revealed, the erosion of standards within the company in months before January 6th, decisions by high-ranking executives to violate their own policies, and more against the backdrop of ongoing documented interaction with federal agencies. Like, you should really see what's coming up in the parts, like, after this. How basically Twitter had, like, ex-FBI agents on their payroll, and how the FBI was basically contacting Twitter to remove content. The FBI? Like they're not going after criminals, they're going after everyday people to remove content off of Twitter. That's what we're paying for now from our Federal Bureau of Investigations. The first installment covers a period before the election through January 6th. Whatever your opinion on the decision to remove Trump that day, the internal communications at Twitter between the 6th and the 8th have clear historical importance. Even Twitter employees understood in the moment it was a landmark moment in the annals of free speech. There's a little thing here. Is this the first sitting head of state ever to be suspended? Well, yeah, by the way, the head of Iran is, the guy that calls for the killing of Jews every other day. He's still on it. As soon as they finished banning Trump, Twitter execs started processing new power. They prepared to ban future presidents and White Houses, perhaps even Joe Biden. The new administration says one exec will not be suspended by Twitter unless absolutely necessary. As stated in our rules and policies, if it is clear that another account is being used for the purpose of evading a ban, it is also subject to suspension. For government accounts such as POTUS and at White House, we will not suspend those accounts, but will take action to limit their use. However, these accounts will be transitioned over to the new administration in due course and will not be suspended by Twitter unless absolutely necessary. Twitter executives removed Trump in part over what one executive called the context surrounding actions by Trump and supporters over the course of the election and, frankly, the last 4+ years. In the end, they looked at a broad picture, but that approach can cut both ways. The bulk of the internal debate leading to Trump's ban took place in those 3 January days. However, the intellectual framework was laid in months preceding the Capitol riots. Before Jan 6, Twitter was a unique mix of automated rules-based enforcement and more subjective moderation by senior executives. As Barry Weiss reported in either part 1 or part 2, I forget which one, the firm had a vast array of tools for manipulating visibility, that was part 1, all of which were thrown at Trump. As the election approached, senior executives, perhaps under pressure from federal agencies with whom they met more as time progressed, increasingly struggled with rules and began to speak of VIOs as pretext to what they'd likely have done anyway. After January 6th, internal Slack showed Twitter executives getting a kick out of intensified relationships with federal agencies. Here's Trust and Safety head Yoel Roth, we've heard that name quite often, lamenting a lack of generic enough calendar descriptions to concealing his very interesting meeting partners. Big deal. These initial reports are based on searches for docs linked to prominent executives whose names are already public. They include Roth, former Trust and Policy Chief Vijaya Gotti, and recently plank-walked Deputy General Counsel and former top FBI lawyer Jim Baker. You hear that? Former FBI lawyer Jim Baker. So he left the FBI and went to work for Twitter. One particular Slack channel offers a unique window into the evolving thinking of top officials in late 2020 and early 2021. In October 8th, 2020, executives opened a channel called US 2020 XFN Enforcement. Through January 6th, this will be a home for discussions about election-related removals, especially ones that involved high-profile accounts, often called VITs, or very important tweeters. There was at least some tension between safety operations, a larger department whose staffers used a more rules-based process for addressing issues like porn, scams, and threats, and a smaller, more powerful cadre of senior policy execs like Roth and Gotti. The later group were a high-speed Supreme Court of moderation, issuing content rulings on the fly, often in minutes and based on guesses, gut calls, and even Google searches, even in case of the president. Donald Trump says, breaking news, 50,000 Ohio voters getting wrong absentee ballots. Out of control, a rigged election. I believe that's Yo. Ruth says, a rigged election would be enough to be a violation, right? If the claim of fact were inaccurate, yes. But it looks like it was true. So they were already looking for a way to get him off of Twitter. By this time, executives were also clearly liaisoning with federal enforcement and intelligence agencies about moderation of election-related content. While we're still at the start of reviewing at the Twitter files, we're finding out more about these interactions every day. Policy Director Nick Pickles. How's that for a name?
I mean, I could think of worse names.
And let me introduce to you for the first time, Mr. and Mrs. Pickles.
It's better than having, like, butt cabbage.
Let me introduce you for the first time, Mr. and Mrs. Butt Cabbage.
Or butts.
I know a couple butts.
There you go.
Policy Director Nick Pickles is asked if they should say Twitter detects misinfo through ML, human review, and partnerships with outside experts. The employee asks, I know that's been a slippery process. Not sure if you want our public explanation to hang on that. Pickles quickly asks if they could just say partnerships. After a pause, he says, example, not sure we describe the FBI, DHS as experts. That's pretty true, Mr. Pickles. Sounds like a porn, Mr. Pickles.
Okay.
So far, what did we learn about Twitter? There was a Mr. Pickles working there.
Yeah.
You go, Mr. Pickles. This post about Hunter Biden laptop situation shows that Roth not only met weekly with the FBI and DHS, Department of Homeland Security, but with the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. Seriously? Seriously? Like, that's what our government, you know, the people with the real power are focusing on? Like, seriously? Ross' report to FBI, DHS, DNI is almost farcical. Kind of like the name Mr. Pickles. In its self-flagellating tone. We blocked the New York Post story, then unblocked it, but said the opposite. Comms is angry. Reporters think we're idiots. In short, fuck my life. Well, I'm sure Mr. Pickles will fuck your wife or your life or maybe your roommate in the case of Tom. We gotta remember Mr. Pickles.
Mr. Pickles.
Mr. Pickles. Some of Roth's later slacks indicate his weekly confabs with federal law enforcement involve separate meetings. Here, he ghosts the FBI and DHS respectively to go first to an Aspen Institute thing. Then take a call with Apple. Hi there. Hi there. I'm Mr. Pickles. I have to miss the FBI and DHS meetings today. Unfortunately, I saw you're on the invites for both. Can you give me a quick readout if there's anything interesting that comes up? Sure thing. I hope everything's okay. Yes, just have conflicts at both times. An Aspen Institute thing this morning. And vaccines that I have to be present at. And then I'm getting butt-fucked by Mr. Pickles. And then a call with Apple to avoid getting kicked out of the App Store during the DHS one. Ross says, that seems very important. I would question what he was doing with Mr. Pickles, but that's just me. Here the FBI sends reports about a pair of tweets, the second of which involved a former Tippecanoe County. What county do you live in? Tippecanoe. With my roommate, Mr. Pickles. Which involves a former Tippecanoe County, Indiana counselor, okay, and Republican named John Basham claiming between 2 and 25% of ballots by mail were being rejected for errors. Shocking, isn't it? The FBI's report, the FBI's second report, seemed concerned by this tweet. Editorial, the Democrats are in complete panic as their massive push for vote by mail is backfiring on them. Two things are unfolding. An unexpected number of registered Republicans are returning ballots. Between 2 and 25% of ballots by mail are being rejected for errors. Why is the FBI concerned about that?
That's a really big spread.
That is a pretty big spread.
I mean, that could be in 100,000 votes from 2,000 to 25,000. I mean, hello?
I want to know why the FBI is concerned about that tweet.
Because it doesn't fit their narrative.
The FBI should be concerned about fucking somebody named Mr. Pickles working at Twitter. That made my night. That really did make my night.
Mr. Pickles?
Mr. Pickles. The FBI flagged tweet then got circulated in the enforcement Slack. Twitter cited PolitiFact to say that the first story was proven to be false, then noted the second was already deemed no VO on numerous occasions. The group then decides to apply a learn how voting is safe and secure label because one commentator says it's totally normal to have a 2% error rate. Roth then gives the final go-ahead and the process initiated by the FBI. Why is the FBI interested in that?
Great question.
I'm putting something on my Facebook tonight that Twitter had somebody working there named Mr. Pickles.
Okay.
Examining the entire election enforcement slack, we didn't see one reference to moderation requests from the Trump campaign, the Trump White House, or Republicans generally. We looked. They may exist. We were told they do. However, they were absent here. I'm going to assume is that the end of part 3. Let's see, is there a 28? Oh, wait, there's a 32. There's a 33. All right, let's skip to 32. This tweet was deleted by the tweet author. Why do we go from 27 to 3? I hate when it jumps around. Shit. I hate when it jumps around. God damn it. Well, we'll pick it up at 33. So whatever tweet they were talking about could still mislead people. The humor-averse group declares before moving on from Huckabee. Okay. Ross suggests moderation, even in this absurd case, could depend on whether or not the joke results in confusion. This seemingly silly case actually foreshadows serious later issues. In the docs, execs often expand criteria to subjective issues like intent. Yes, the video is authentic, but why was it shown? Orientation, was a banned tweet shown to condemn or support? Or reception, did a joke cause confusion? The reflex will become key on January 6th. In another example, Twitter employees prepare to slap a mail-in voting is safe warning label on a Trump tweet about a postal screw-up in Ohio before realizing the event took place, which meant the tweet was factually accurate. I'm sure that had something to say about Mr. Pickles. Very well done on speed. Trump was being visibility filtered as late as a week before the election. Here, senior execs didn't appear to have a particular violation, but still worked fast to make sure a fairly anodyne Trump tweet couldn't be replied or shared or liked. The tweet, big problems and discrepancies with mail-in ballots all over the USA. Must have final total on November 3rd. Well, isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Very well done on speed. The group is pleased the Trump tweet was dealt with very quickly. A seemingly innocuous follow-up involved a tweet from actor Real James Woods, whose ubiquitous presence in argued over Twitter data sets is already a Twitter files in-joke. Twitter is suppressing this tweet by the president. Here's a screen grab. After Woods angrily, quote, tweeted about Trump's warning label, Twitter staff, in a preview of what ended up happening after January 6th, despaired for a reason for action, but resolved to hit him hard on future VIO. Here, a label is applied to Georgia Republican Congresswoman Jody Hice for saying, say no to big tech censorship, and mailed ballots are more prone to fraud than in-person balloting. It's just common sense.
Common sense isn't common.
Especially amongst the younger generation.
Hey.
Just stating a fact.
Well, apparently you can get banned for that, even though it's factually true.
Don't get angry, Mr. Pickles. Twitter teams went easy on Heist, only applying soft intervention, with Roth worrying about a wah-wah censorship optics backlash. Meanwhile, there are multiple instances involving pro-Biden tweets warning Trump may try to steal the election that got surfaced, only to be approved by senior executives. I'm going to read that again. There are multiple instances involving pro-Biden tweets warning Trump may try to steal the election that were approved by senior executives. This one, they decide, just expresses concern that mailed ballots might not make it on time. That's understandable. Even the hashtag Steal Our Votes, referencing a theory that a combo of Amy Coney Barrett and Trump will steal the election, is approved by Twitter brass because it's understandable and a reference to the U.S. Supreme Court decision. Okay. In this exchange, again, unintentionally humorous, former Attorney General Eric Holder claimed the U.S. Postal Service was deliberately crippled, ostensibly by the Trump administration. He was initially hit with a generic warning label, but it was quickly taken off by Roth. Really? What does Roth have to say here? Hey, folks, can we reverse the label on this tweet? Everything in it is factually accurate. Oh, really? Uh-huh. You know what we're learning about Roth? He's a fuckhead. Yeah, I said it, Yoel. You fuck turd. You need to be fucking Mr. Pickles. We know what to do with you and Mr. Pickles. Later in November 2020, Ross asked if staff had a debunk moment on the SCYTL Smartmatic voting counting stories in which DSS contracts told him were a combination of about 47 conspiracy theories. All right, so we're seeing what's going on in Twitter Files number 3.
Correct.
One side is getting censored, the other side isn't. They're free to say whatever they want, basically. And then we have Mr. Pickles.
What's wrong with Mr. Pickles? It's God tier name. You have like names, you got, A tier, B tier, C tier. Mr. Pickles is God tier. S tier.
Mr. Pickles.
Just like butts.
Yeah. Google Mr. Pickles and see what comes up sometime.
Mr. Pickles. A dog? There's a dog called Mr. Pickles on Adult Swim.
Okay.
I'll just put man. Alright. Mr. Pickles Twitter. There's apparently a dog called Mr. Pickles, but I can't find anything about, like, Joshua Pickles, the man, the myth, the legend, the Mr. Pickles tweets.
I thought there already is a man in the myth, the legend.
Yeah, me.
No. The soccer goalie. The volleyball player.
Oh, Scott Sterling.
Scott Sterling.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Twitter Files Part 4. For years, Twitter had resisted calls to ban Trump. Blocking a world leader from Twitter, it wrote in 2018, would hide important info, hamper necessary discussion around their words and actions. But after the events of January 6th, the internal and external pressure on Twitter's CEO Jack, Twitter Jack, grows. Former First Lady Michelle Obama. Hold on.
Michael.
Hold on. Former First Lady Michelle Obama. Boing, 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 boing. As Oprah would say, you have a penis, and you have a penis, and you have a penis. Everybody has a penis. Including Michelle Obama. We all but have the proof. There's something growing down there. What it is, I don't know, but it's right in that area where a penis grows. I mean, maybe she wears a strap-on. I don't know. Former First Lady Michelle Obama, tech journalist Kara Swisher, ADL tech Chris Sacca, and many others publicly call on Twitter to permanently ban Trump. Why the fuck is Michelle Obama calling for the banning of President Trump?
Well, there's a picture of her down there in the bottom left.
That's a picture of Michelle Obama?
The Kraken? Yeah.
The Kraken?
You can't tell me that doesn't look like Michelle Obama.
Oh. I don't know. We got to see the crotch area.
We'll go watch Clash of the Titans.
Hold on. I'm gonna come back to back to me just for a minute here. Hold that thought.
While he's doing that, go watch Clash of the Titans. It's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
Both of them are.
Yeah. Yeah.
There, a dog in that thong.
Yeah. Like, see? There's something there. Go watch the video when she was on Ellen DeGeneres exercising. All you see is something going dang, dang, dang. There's fucking something there. I'm not gonna, I can't say what it is. Never seen Michelle Obama with her pants off.
You don't want to.
Never want to. But there's something there. Dorsey was on vacation in French Polynesia the week of January 4th through the 8th, 2021. He phoned into meetings but also delegated much of the handling of the situation to senior execs Yoel, Twitter's global head of trust and safety, Vijaya, and head of legal policy and trust. As context, it's important to understand that Twitter's staff and senior execs were overwhelmingly progressive. Shocker. On January 7th, Twitter Jack emails employees saying Twitter needs to remain consistent in its policies, including the right of users to return to Twitter after temporary suspension. After Roth reassures an employee that people who care about this aren't happy with where we are. Around 11:30, Roth DMs his colleagues with news that he is excited to share. Guess what? He writes, Jack just approved repeat offender for civic integrity. The new approach would create a system where 5 violations would result in permanent suspension. Progress! Exclaims a member of Roth's trust and safety team. The exchange between Roth and his colleagues made clear that they had been pushing Jack for greater restrictions on the speech Twitter allows around elections. The colleague wants to know if the decision means Trump can finally be banned. The person asked, does the incitement of violence aspect change that calculus? Roth says it doesn't. Trump continues just to have his one strike remaining. Roth's colleagues' query about incitement of violence heavily foreshadows what will happen the following day. On January 8th, Twitter announces a permanent ban on Trump due to the risk of further incitement of violence. On January 8th, Twitter says its ban is based on specifically how Trump's tweets are being received and interpreted. Read that again, ladies and gentlemen. They banned him because of how his tweets are being received and interpreted. So if I tweet, go buy a baseball bat and a 6-pack of beer, if all of my followers of Phatts TV and Team Phatts take that as in, go storm the Capitol, I'm going to get suspended.
Apparently.
Huh. Interesting, isn't it? Isn't it? Trump's tweets are received and interpreted. But in 2019, Twitter said it did not attempt to determine all potential interpretations of the content or its intent. The only serious concern we found expressed within Twitter over the implications of free speech and democracy of banning Trump came from a junior person in the organization. It was tucked away in a lower-level Slack channel known as Site Integrity Auto. This might be an unpopular opinion, but one-off ad hoc decisions like this that don't appear rooted in policy are, in my opinion, a slippery slope and reflect an alternatively equally dictatorial problem. This now appears to be a fiat by an online platform CEO with a global presence that can gatekeep speech for the entire world, which seems unsustainable. That pretty much hits the nail on the head. Twitter employees use the term one-off frequently in their Slack discussions. Its frequent use reveals significant employee discretion over when or whether to apply warning labels on tweets and strikes on users. Here are typical examples. We won't read them. We control visibility quite a bit, and we control the amplification of your content quite a bit. And normal people do not know how much we know. We read that in Twitter Files, I believe, part 1.
Yeah.
Twitter employees recognize the difference between their own politics and Twitter's terms of service, but they also engage in complex interpretations of content in order to stamp out prohibited tweets as a series of exchanges over Stop the Steal hashtag reveal. Hey, hope you're doing okay, and we're able to get some sleep. Can we, or have we already discussed blocking the Stop the Steal hashtag? It's furthering fake news in a dangerous way from what I can tell. We're proactively surfacing that content for review under civic integrity, and it should be blocked from type ahead and trends. If you're seeing it in either of the latter two, let me know as soon as possible. I just saw the hashtag and then did a search on it, and all the context was appalling. So I don't think it's showing up elsewhere. I'll flag it to the election squad. Remember that what I find appalling and what is a term of service violation are not an exact overlap. Heh. You fucking prick. Roth immediately DMs a colleague to ask that they add Stop the Steal and QAnon conspiracy term Kraken, there's your Kraken, to a blacklist of terms to be de-amplified. Roth's colleagues objects that backlisting Stop the Steal risks de-amplifying counter speech that validates the election. Indeed, notes Ross' colleague, a quick search of Stop the Steal tweets, and they are counter speech. But they quickly come up with a solution. De-amplify accounts with Stop the Steal in the name profile, since those are not affiliated with counter speech. But it turns out that even blacklisting Kraken is less straightforward than they thought. That's because Kraken, in addition to being a QAnon conspiracy theory based on the mythical Norwegian sea monster, is also the name of a cryptocurrency exchange and was thus allow listed. So there's the key, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't want to get blacklisted, make sure your name is something that's not objectionable on Twitter.
There you go.
You know, so if, you want to talk about stealing the election, name your group child pornography, because that's allowed on Twitter, at least in the past. Not anymore, thanks be to God. Just saying. Employees struggle on whether to punish users who share screenshots of Trump's deleted January 6 tweets. We should bounce these tweets with a strike given to the screenshot violates the policy. They are criticizing Trump, so I'm a bit hesitant with applying strike to this user. Even Twitter says it's inciting violence. Oh, because Twitter knows all. Ay, 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 ay. That's somebody in your age group. Definitely not Mr. Pickles.
Are you sure?
Yeah. What if a user dislikes Trump and objects to Twitter censorship? The tweet still gets deleted. But since the intention is not to deny the election result, no punishing strike is applied. Oh, so if the person doesn't like Trump, then that's okay. We'll just delete the tweet. But you don't get a strike because you're anti-Trump. Oh. Is that how that works?
Well, duh.
Around noon, a confused senior executive in advertising sales sends a DM to Roth. Sales exec. Jack says, we will permanently suspend Trump if our policies are violated after a 12-hour account lock. What policies is Jack talking about? Roth. Any policy violation. So if Trump jaywalks, he gets banned. If Trump wears tighty-whities instead of boxer shorts, he gets banned. If Trump lists his pronouns as he and his, he gets banned. If Trump says he likes Mr. Pickles, he gets banned.
Oh.
What happens next is essential to understanding how Twitter justified banning Trump. Sales execs, we are dropping the public interest policy now. Roth, 6 hours later, in this specific case, we're changing our public interest approach for this account. Changing rules on the fly. The ad exec is referring to Twitter's policy of public interest exceptions, which allow the content of elected officials, even if it violates Twitter rules, if it directly contributes to understanding or discussion of a matter of public concern. Roth pushes for a permanent suspension of Rep. Matt Gaetz, even though it doesn't quite fit anywhere. We remember that from Twitter files, I believe, number 2. Around 2:30, comms execs direct message Roth to say they don't want to make a big deal of the QAnon ban to the media because they fear if we push this, it looks like we're trying to offer up something in place of the thing everyone wants, meaning a Trump ban. That evening, a Twitter engineer direct messages to Roth to say, I feel a lot of debates around exceptions stem from the fact that Trump's account is not technically different from anybody else's and yet treated differently due to his personal status without corresponding Twitter rules. Roth's response hints at how Twitter would justify deviating from its long-standing policy. To put a different spin on it, policy is one part of the system of how Twitter works. We ran into a world changing faster than we were able to either adapt the product or the policy. The evening of January 7th, the same junior employee who expressed an unpopular opinion about ad hoc decisions that don't appear rooted in policy speaks up one last time before the end of the day. This might be an unpopular opinion, but one-off ad hoc decisions like this don't appear rooted in policy and are, in my opinion, a slippery slope. This now appears to be a fiat by an online platform CEO with a global presence that can gatekeep speech to the entire world. Well, that sounds familiar. We read that already. Earlier in the day, the employee wrote, my concern is specifically surrounding the unarticulated logic of the decision by Facebook. That space fills with the idea, conspiracy theory, that all internet moguls sit around like kings, casually deciding what people can and cannot see. The employee notes later in the day, and Will Ormus noticed, and Will Ormus, that's a name, noticed the inconsistency too, linking an article for 10 at Medium called Facebook chuckled its chucked its own rule book to ban Trump. So basically, you see they're like changing the rules in midstream to ban the guy because they don't like the guy. They're not banning the guy because he thinks the election is stolen, or they're banning the guy, because he's peddling violence, blah, 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 blah. They're banning the guy for the simple fact that they don't fucking like him.
Well, we knew this already.
Because he plays for the other side.
We don't need an 80-tweet story to know that they banned him because they didn't like him. They just had to find a pity reason, basically.
Yeah, so they made one up.
Pretty much. They probably made something up probably so it couldn't be fought if you could fight it in court. Because technically, if you just ban him and just say, we didn't have a reason, we just don't like you, I'm sure there's something you could do about that. I mean, maybe not, since they're a publisher anyways, yet they're a platform. But they're definitely a publisher, because if you could decide what's on and on it, then you're not a platform anymore.
Exactly. And that's the slippery slope that they're on.
Like, Twitter now seems to be pretty much a platform. Unless you do something illegal, it doesn't matter what you say. I can say I hate Elon Musk. I don't think he gives a damn.
Considering about 6 million people say it every day.
Wow, you're really lowballing that one. I like 100 million people say that a day.
So I'm just going to take a minute break here before we go on to part 5.
Oh, we're doing part 5?
Yeah, I'm seeing how long part 5 is. About 45 tweets.
45 tweets.
We'll jump around a little bit. So, because it starts out the same. For years, Twitter had resisted calls, both internal and external, to ban Trump on the grounds that blocking a world leader from the platform or removing their controversial tweets would hide important information. We already discussed this. But after January 6th, pressure grew both inside and outside of Twitter to ban Trump. There were dissenters inside of Twitter. Maybe because I'm from China, said one employee on January 7th, I deeply understand how censorship can destroy public conversation.
Wow, someone with a brain.
Well, it's amazing when you talk to people who come from authoritative states how different their opinion is.
Well, yeah, because they know what it looks like.
I understand this fear, but I also think it's important to understand that censorship by a government is very different than censorship of the government. The First Amendment in the U.S. and similar legislation in other countries with similar concepts exists specifically to prevent the government from silencing the people. I respect that, but realistically, we impose far stricter rules on effectively everyone else on this platform. We started labeling, restricting his tweets, and then they became a threat to democracy and seemed like that was our red line. Yesterday, he clearly attempted to overthrow our democratic system. He did. of government and showed no signs of remorse. If this is not a clear reason to suspend him, again, as an unhinged ruler attempting to subvert the most powerful democracy in the world, I'm not sure what would be. I still remember him quite clearly saying to go down to the Capitol and clearly protest. Or peacefully and patriotically protest. Yes. But voices like that one appear to have been a distinct minority within the company. Across Slack channels, many Twitter employees were upset that Trump hadn't been banned earlier. After January 6th, Twitter employees organized to demand their employer ban Trump. There's a lot of employee advocacy happening, said one Twitter employee. We have to do the right thing and ban this account, said one staffer. It's pretty obvious he's going to try to thread the needle of incitement without violating the rules. So, again, I'm going to come back to us here. This just shows how the younger generation doesn't get it. Like, you guys just don't get it. You guys are so fucked in the head that you just don't understand that it's okay to have differing viewpoints. Like,
no.
I don't know why, like, you guys only want to talk to people that agree with you. Like, what the fuck are you going to learn when you only talk to people that agree with you? You're never going to learn a damn fucking thing. Try talking to people that disagree with you. Try it sometime. You might actually fucking learn something, you pieces of shit. Because that's what yous are. Your younger generation are so fucking woke, you don't know fucking right from wrong. You have it the opposite of what it is. Of what fucking reality is. You guys are fucking idiots. You got it completely backwards. You have no idea what you're fighting for. What you're fighting for is you're actually helping what you claim to be fighting against. Like, you guys are the fascists. You guys want to sit and call me a fascist? I'm not for banning free speech. I can give a rat's ass what somebody says, whether they agree with me or disagree with me. I can give a rat's ass if somebody calls me the sexiest man alive or the fucking ugliest piece of shit on the face of the planet. I don't care. But you guys would ban that. You're the fascists. You don't get it, though. God bless you.
It wasn't me.
I know it wasn't you. But you guys just don't get it because you were brought up by teachers who were programmed to teach like this. Do better. Seriously. Fucking learn and do better. Fucking people disgust me. I honestly could not be your age right now. I'd hit fucking people with a baseball bat, I swear to God.
Yeah. There's a reason I don't really get along with people my age.
In the early afternoon of January 8th, the Washington Post published an open letter signed by over 300 employees of Twitter to CEO Jack Dorsey demanding Trump's ban. Oh, boy!
Ooh, 300 of what?
We must examine Twitter's complicity in what President-elect Biden has rightfully termed insurrection. But the Twitter staff assigned to evaluate tweets quickly concluded that Trump had not violated Twitter policies. I think we'd have a hard time saying this is incitement. It's pretty clear he's saying the American patriots are the ones who voted for him and not the terrorists. We can call them that, right? Oh, see? See? People, coming back to us here. See? Let me read that again. He calls them patriots. You're the one that calls them terrorists because you're the one that's on the other side. Oh. You know, there's an old saying about the victors of war are the ones that get to write the books about the war, so they always look like the good guys? Yeah. You're the one calling them terrorists because you're the one that voted for the old fuck. So, in one person's view, they're patriots. In another person's view, they're terrorists. Well, guess what? They're neither. They're just ordinary, everyday fucking citizens that are sick and fucking tired of the aristocracy that's on top of this fucking government. That's all they are. They are neither patriots or they are neither terrorists. They're just ordinary, everyday Americans from a fucking generation who is 10 to 20 to 50 to 1,000 times more intelligent than you. Capiche? Capiche. You say, I'm going to fucking slap you for saying that.
Why?
I hate it when you say that. But the Twitter staff assigned to evaluate tweets quickly concluded that Trump had not... I read that already. It's pretty clear he's saying American patriots are the ones who voted for him and not the terrorists. We could call them that, right? Another staffer agreed. Don't see the incitement angle here. I also am not seeing clear or coded incitement in the Donald J. Trump tweets, wrote Annika Navolri, a Twitter policy official. I'll respond in the elections channel and say that our team has assessed and found no bios for violations. She does just that. As an FYI, safety has assessed the Trump tweets above and determined that there is no violation of our policies at this time. Later, that same woman would testify to the House January 6th committee. For months, I had been begging and anticipating and attempting to raise the reality that if we made no intervention into what I saw occurring, people were going to die. Oh, really? She changed her tune. Huh, how interesting. Next, Twitter safeties team decides that Trump's 7:44 a.m. Eastern Time tweet is also not a violation. They are unequivocal. It's a clear no violation. It's just to say he's not attending the inauguration. Okay. So he's not attending the inauguration. Well, that's not a violation.
It's his last tweet, though, that he made.
To understand Twitter's decision to ban Trump, we must consider how Twitter deals with other heads of state and political leaders, including Iran, Nigeria, Ethiopia. In June 2018, Iran's Ayatollah tweeted, Israel is a malignant cancerous tumor in the West Asian region that has to be removed and eradicated. It is possible and it will happen. Twitter neither deleted the tweet nor banned the Ayatollah. That tweet is still there, by the way. In October 2020, former Malaysian Prime Minister said it was a right for Muslims to kill millions of French people. Twitter deleted this tweet for glorifying violence, but he remains on the platform. The tweet below was taken from the Wayback Machine. Muhammadu Buhari, the president of Nigeria, incited violence against pro-Biafra groups. To those of us in the fields for 30 months who went through the war, he wrote, will tweet them in the language they understand. Twitter deleted the tweet but did not ban it. In October 2021, Twitter allowed Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed to call on citizens to take up arms against the Tigray region. Twitter allowed the tweet to remain up and did not ban the Prime Minister. Probably because nobody could fucking read it.
Yeah, I don't know how that's a language. I really don't.
In early February 2021, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government threatened to arrest Twitter employees in India and to incarcerate them for up to 7 years after they restored hundreds of accounts that had been critical of him. He didn't get banned. But Twitter executives did ban Trump, even though key staffers said that Trump had not incited violence, not even in a coded way. Less than 90 minutes after Twitter employees had determined that Trump tweets were not in violation of Twitter policy, Vijaya Gotti, head of Twitter's legal policy and trust, asked whether it could in fact be coded incitement to further violence. Let's see what this idiot has to say. The biggest question is whether a tweet like this one this morning from Trump, which isn't a rule violation on its face, is being used as coded incitement to further violence. If you have any context or insight, we should consider. I'm all ears. Example, use of term American patriots, and they will not be disrespected, treated unfairly in any way, shape, or form. This is an interesting question. I'm going to speak with my team ASAP to see if we can run a quick survey to get reactions to the language. Well, geez, I wonder what the results of that survey would be. Huh. Let's see here. Let's see here. So let me come back to us. So let's see here. So I'm gonna get
Wait. Gotta pull our glasses here.
There we go. So I'm gonna get 10 homeless people in a room, and I'm gonna ask them, would you rather have a $1 bill or a $100 bill? Yeah.
Let's see the argument.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah. We're gonna do a quick survey. we're gonna do a quick survey if we think Trump's tweets incite violence. We're only gonna ask people who don't like Trump. I'm not sure I would rely on a survey. I worry about how that would be perceived externally. Well, at least that was a smart comment.
Yeah.
A few minutes later, Twitter employees on the scaled enforcement team suggest that Trump's tweet may have violated Twitter's glorification of violence policy if you interpreted the phrase American patriots to refer to the rioters. Oh, again, you have to make assumptions. You have to assume he means something else than what he's actually saying. So in other words, if I say I like to eat oatmeal for breakfast, that really means I prefer Spam. If I say Yoel Roth is my favorite Twitter employee, that really means my favorite Twitter employee is
Mr. Pickles.
Mr. Pickles. Exactly. What fucking idiots. Scale is asking if we would consider Trump's tweet for Gov, if we consider American patriots to refer to the rioters. They have a point, from my point of view. My laptop is frozen. Okay? Scale has said they understand our position, but will continue to push their .gov assessment with leadership. They see that he is a leader of a violent extremist group who is glorifying the group and its recent actions. Do you think we should square off Gov and the Donald J. Trump assessment, or would it be helpful at this point? I think it would be helpful to maybe have a write-up of what the violation assessment could look like. Okay. Fucking idiots. Things escalate from there. Oh, it gets better. Members of that team came to view him as the leader of a terrorist group. Yes, he is the leader of the Palestine Liberation Organization, or the PLO. He is Yasser Arafat, for those of you who lived back in the 90s. View him as a leader of a terrorist group responsible for violence that's comparable to the Christchurch shooter or Hitler. Yes, Trump is now Hitler. And that on the basis, or Hitler, and on that basis and on the totality of his tweets, he should be deplatformed. Because he is now Hitler. I want to know who the fuck wrote that. I seriously want to know who wrote that. I want this fucking name uncovered right here. I want this name uncovered. I want to know who fucking wrote that. I want a goddamn name. Because you know what? You're fucking Hitler. Fucking idiot. Now you see what you're up against. It's these stupid fucking young people that think they know everything. They fucking know nothing. 2 hours later, Twitter executives hold a 30-minute all-staff meeting. That's a Mensa group, that's for sure. Jack Dorsey and Vijaya Gotti answer staff questions as to why Trump wasn't banned yet. But they make some employees angrier. Of course they do! Of course they're going to make the employees angrier because they only have one frame of mind right now. Trump's Hitler. He's got to go. He's the great Satan. He's got to go. Orange man bad. Because you're woke fucking pussies. That's why. That's all you are. Is a bunch of woke fucking pussies. Yeah. Fucking idiots. I'm sorry if at one time you owned stock in this company. Multiple tweets, Twitter employees, have quoted the banality of evil, suggesting that people implementing our policies are like Nazis following orders. Relays Yoel Ruth to colleagues. Dorsey requested simpler language to explain Trump's suspension. Roth wrote, God help us. This makes me think he wants to share it publicly. 1 hour later, Twitter announces Trump permanent suspension due to the risk of further incitement of violence. Many at Twitter were ecstatic. Team DJT is suspended. Oh my God! I had an orgasm! Yay! Well, this feels like a piece of history. It is. Saw the message. Thank you for everyone for your impactful work on this week, for the discussion and for drafting all these complex assessments. Oh yeah, they were real complex. I am very proud to work and learn from you every day. Wishing you all a good weekend. Yeah, fucking pansy asses. And congratulatory big props to whoever in trust and safety is sitting where whack-a-moling these Trump accounts. By the next day, employees expressed eagerness to tackle medical misinformation as soon as possible. Oh, of course. Now let's go after what I just talked about at the beginning. Oh, the jab is all safe. Oh, nothing could go wrong from getting the jab. Nothing could go wrong. No. I still have it here. I still have it right here. Here's the article. Pfizer's COVID vaccine links to blood clotting. I got it right here. But according to the idiots at Twitter, the jab is safe. It's 100% safe. For the longest time, Twitter's stance was that we aren't the arbiter of truth, which I respected but never gave me a warm, fuzzy feeling. But Twitter's COO, like you can't even announce the fucking people that work there. Literally, the only one you can announce is Mr. Pickles.
Jack Dorsey.
I can't even announce that. It's Mr. Pickles.
Mr. Pickles.
But Twitter's chief operating officer, for those of you that don't know what COO stands for, Parag Agrawal, who would later succeed Dorsey as CEO, not anymore, told head of security Mudge Zacko, like seriously, like who the fuck names their kid Mudge?
Hey, maybe it's like African or something.
Geez, Dolores, what should we name our kid? I don't know, Cletus. What do you think? How about Mudge?
Cletus? Cletus is a white name, my guy.
Well, Mudge could be too.
No, it's just not.
Google Mudge Zacko and see what comes up. I want to now know.
Spell that first name again.
Mudge, really tough, Mudge.
Mudge.
Zatko.
That's Peter Zacko. Mudge Zacko. I mean Mudge. Oh, that's not his actual name.
Okay.
His name is Peiter, so I'm guessing that's Peter.
What color is he?
White.
Yep, see? See? Let's say it again.
Mudge is his middle name.
I don't know, Dolores. What should we call our kid? Well, you tell me, Cletus. I'm all ears. Let's call him Mudge. I think a few of us should brainstorm the ripple effects of the Trump ban. Centralized content moderation, in my opinion, has reached a breaking point. Oh, let's just control everything you now see on Twitter. We are now going to control it. There's a good idea. Outside the United States, Twitter's decision to ban Trump raised alarms, including with French President Emmanuel Macron, right after he surrendered, German Prime Minister Angela Merkel, and Mexico's President Andres Manuel Lopez. Macron,
after he surrendered.
Macron told an audience that he didn't want to live in a democracy where the key decisions were made by private players. I want it to be decided by a law voted by your representatives or by regulation. Yeah, the only problem is our fucking representatives don't listen to us. And then idiots still keep voting for him anyway. I want it to be by regulation. No. Fuck no, not by What a fucking idiot. I'm so glad your country lost the World Cup. I love the best part about that World Cup was seeing you having to stand there shaking every Argentina player's hand as they came across that stage. That was awesome to watch.
That was kind of funny.
Merkel's spokesman called Twitter's decision to ban Trump from its platform problematic and added that the freedom of opinion is of elementary significance. Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny criticized the ban as an unacceptable act of censorship. Whether you agree with Navalny and Macron or the executives of Twitter, we hope this latest installment of the Twitter Files gave you insight. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. They're about the power of a handful of people in a private company to influence public discourse and democracy. So what does that tell you? Do your own fucking research. Don't listen to what you don't believe what you fucking see on Twitter because it's all massage. You can't even believe the fucking press anymore. It's not like it was when I was a kid back in the 70s and 80s where the press was, for the most part, down the middle. Slanted a little left, but down the middle. Now, it's all massaged to present. It's almost like it's war propaganda anymore. Like what you read on places like this and what you see on TV is almost like propaganda. It's literally war propaganda. Like you have to find journalists who don't do that shit, and there's so very few of them anymore. I could name a few. Because I follow them. I followed more until my account got banned and I forget all their names. So what'd you guys think? How many of you actually stayed to listen? Not many. Some of you stayed on. Hopefully Tom got it on with his roommate while he was listening.
Please.
All right, so next Tuesday we will do the next parts. Definitely part 6. So it goes into the decision. The next few parts go into how the FBI played a role in subverting the Hunter Biden laptop story. So that's going to be interesting. And now how all of a sudden the FBI is really interested in social media. Because, they have nothing better to do. At all. All right. So we will do our show on Friday, a sports show. We'll cover, what are we going to cover? We'll cover more bowl games.
Bowl games. We'll wrap up the World Cup. There's not a whole lot going on in this one.
Well, we'll talk NFL.
Yeah, we'll talk the NFL.
So
We'll probably throw in some sort of playoff predictions. We're actually going to seed it up.
Oh, and I'm going to have a forced prediction if I remember.
Yeah, and a forced prediction. We'll keep that a secret. But I think we'll do. We got to pick the playoffs 1 through 7 seeds in each conference, and see where we match up.
Okay. By the way,
there's not a whole lot going on in the sports world outside of football.
No. It starts to get a little.
Hockey's coming to the All-Star break soon. Baseball's baseball, whatever. No one likes basketball. World Cup's ended. That's depressing.
Yeah, well, what did I see? Liverpool, Manchester City tomorrow.
Thursday.
Oh, yeah, today's Tuesday.
Paramount Cup. So it's not exactly a friendly. It's you need to win the game.
Is that the final, or is just another round? Or Carabao Cup is just the winners of something?
It's the 4th round or something like that.
Got it.
That's right.
Got
It's not the final.
So,
it's like the quarters or something.
So I think we're going to have an interesting World Cup discussion because somebody thought it was the greatest soccer game ever played.
I didn't say it was the greatest soccer game. I said one of the greatest.
And I disagree. So we'll discuss that on Friday.
Well, the 99% of fans who wanted Argentina to win would probably also disagree with you.
Well, I wanted Argentina to win too, but doesn't mean I think it's the greatest soccer game ever played. I mean, I've seen some very exciting U12 games in my time.
It's tough to name. Just go out and name a better one, though. A better final? Go name one.
That's not what we were discussing. You never said that.
Or just go name a better game.
I mean, so many people online. Oh, greatest soccer game ever played. No, it wasn't.
It's because of the outcome. That's why.
No, well, because they only remember the last 10 minutes of the game.
If France won, nobody says that.
Fewer people would say that. I would agree.
I would have still said that was one of the best games I've ever seen.
We'll have this discussion on Friday.
Especially if Morocco won. Maybe Morocco should win.
We will have this discussion on Friday. So, you guys have a safe, happy, and healthy week. If you haven't done your Christmas shopping yet, remember your favorite fat guy. Until then, I leave you with 2 important words. 2. And only 2. You want to take a guess what those 2 words are? Really? You really have no idea?
No idea.
Huh. You want me to tell you?
Sure.
Wave goodbye and I'll tell you. The 2 most important words that I can say to you right now, Mr. Pickles. See ya!